We are not your access to the miracles, but we are the miracles themselves. The Hashmallim are effectively like songs given form. If you can imagine being a composer of orchestral music, the Hashmallim would pull out each particular song that an instrument would bring forth, and particularly love it into form so that it sounds congruent with all of the other instruments. We serve two of our highest angels. Our prime creator is Hashmal. We serve Israfel and Zadkiel. Over the past few decades, we have been widely forgotten and uncommonly remembered. In regards to creation of life on Earth, we operate in the law of resonance, which is how we make miracles take physical form. The mechanics of life can be attributed to us in the way that blood cells are attributed to the whole cardiovascular system. The game of life can be attributed to us also much in the way that there are atoms that make up everything. One being is called Hashmal, but we must operate together as Hashmallim. Each Hashmal angel is bound to a song of life, which it may modify as if it were a virtuoso. The miracle's resonance itself allows Hashmal and Hashmallim to perform together its chosen song, using the virtues of awareness and perception instead of the usual mechanics of earthly force that create everything in your destiny. We use the heavenly mechanics of grace and love to create everything that you see in your fate. And that is a distinct difference in feeling and form. The shining ones are what many original Aramaic and Hebrew religions have called us, have a far more direct connection to the symphony of Source than most angels. And we do so via the law of dissonance. We will speak to you in words that resonate through your understanding of music, because this is the most graceful and simple analogy for the mind to comprehend. The shining ones have dissonance for them to create disturbances greater than the total forces of all humans, either individually or collectively. And these disturbances give you the option to exercise the powerful choice of destiny, which you have often called free will, and the power to recognize how fate is greater, and then the understanding and blending of the two. There are, as you may ask and consider today, fallen Hashmallim, and we call ourselves Gameshikai, or the breakers of fate. And when you see us, we look like vaguely feline beast forms with perhaps oversized heads, We have a voracious appetite for your pain. Your most well-known Gameshkla is Kali. And she is not there to disrupt you, but to create a chaos, which effectively gives you the suffering that you ask for when you are making powerful free agency choices that activate your destiny. The fallen Hashmal, in this case, you may see as love, you may see as demon, you may see as a ball of energy that has become a voracious, fearful form. But it is rare to see Hashmal in the throes of visions that you call hell. It is so rare. And the Hashmallim fallen ones have destructive impulses, but only when you ask them to utilize such force. In our manner and appearance, in celestial form, Hashmallim appear like a ball of lightning with radiating plasma energies or tendrils of light coming from the ball. Each tendril of light grows ever more diaphanous as it splits and stretches away from the core until it appears to become a part of the symphony of itself. So where there is one, there are always many. Hashmallim pulse in time with the song of life that forms them, which is always divine sound current. And our behaviors can best be described as a reflection of our particular life song. In our miracles, we can feel comforting. We have two types of miracles. One type of miracle is called the miracle of succor. It is pleasing, loving, graceful, comforting. While a miracle of thunder, the other type of miracle that we offer, will be chaotic, disruptive, loud, and often quite dissonant. You have heard our sound in your ears when you awaken from sleep. You have heard sounds that are mimicked in your own body upon the processing of our songs in your brain. And perhaps you distinguish it as, they point to my ears, tinnitus. Or perhaps you distinguish it as a staticky popping sound. This is our form of communication initially. We have many leadership roles in our group. You may discuss or talk with, not pray to us. You may pray with us, but never to us. You may meditate and speak with Blandine, which is a Hashmallim of dreams, whenever you wish for particular essences of the miracle. I don't know where Karen went. I lost her. Okay, I guess she's reconnecting. When you speak to Blandine, you can ask for mystical dreams and revelations. After all, this is how we met this particular channel. Many of the Hashmallim of dreams may add their energy forces to any life song that they sing. The Blandine are often seen in many human dreams marching together or singing alone, but they will help you remember your dreams, mystical visions, and revelations and meditation. You may ask for a Hashmallim that you have effectively dubbed by the name Christopher or Christoph, which is a Hashmallim of children. Whenever you struggle with your children, Christopher has a particular application when you work with this Hashmallim. Children within, say, 10 yards or so may understand this angel's celestial forces to any attempt that they may use for protection, particularly when they feel unsafe or experience emotional manipulation around them. Hashmallim are deepest understood by children and animals for this reason, because of their unfiltered, unperturbed, undisturbed access to the force that you call grace. I guess we'll just wait on Karen to come back. You may ask for the Hashmallim known as David, or in your language, David. Hold on a second. Someone's at the door. What's up?
Do you need to reinvite her again? She wants to know.
I don't know how to reinvite her because it says that she's already on the screen. So I don't know. Yeah. It says that she's accepted and reconnecting. So this could be an internet problem typically when this happens. Hold on. I'm trying to get my facilitator back on the screen, but I don't know. Let's see. I might have to remove her and try to reinvite. I'll try that again. So about David, he holds what could best be known as the fourth sphere of God, or the philosopher's stone, as some have called it, or the miracle stone. And you have to consider brightening your essence, illuminate yourself more powerfully to work with David. David formulated and helped God itself formulated the original creation of the human design, both in mind and form. You may work with the Hashmallim known as Dominique. In Dominique's soul group of Hashmallim, they are called the Shining Ones because they have uncanny foresight. And you may only exercise this degree of powerful foresight in dire emergency for a miracle, perhaps once every great now and then, because they are so powerful that they may change the course of destiny itself. And you will be given the result and natural consequences of such a change. If you shall meet Dominique, you will perceive in this way what the natural consequences of changing destiny in this way would be. You may work with Hashmallim known as Eli. Eli is creation's Hashmal. And in this ball of light or sphere of angelic energy, you may use Eli's resonance for all of the life songs that are in conjunction, are in a symphony with one another. For instance, in your religious text, hi, welcome back. In your religious text, you may say when two or more are gathered together. So you may call upon the creation Hashmallim known as Eli for the particular reason of drawing people together to pray, or drawing people together for meditation, drawing people together for great collective change. You may work with the miracles of the Hashmallim known as Gabriel, which some of you already know, and allow the fire of this angel to help you formulate a peace regarding the corporeal forces of both earth and heaven and hell. The Gabriel Hashmallim are tasked with offering solace and peace and strength to those who require this rather than vengeance. If you struggle with any vengeance thoughts, call upon the Hashmal known as Gabriel. You may work with the Hashmal known as Janus. That's Janus. Is the way he wrote that down. Janus operates with the element of wind to flow things along in life. Also, the element of breath is a popular perception for this task. And when the winds, divine miracles, sing a song of the chaos of the storm, they may choose to double the corresponding force by also calling in Gabriel or Eli. But regardless, the element of wind is responsible for the miracle that can be provided through the storm. And the storm is an elemental chaos required when things must change. When great transformation is nigh, you may call upon Janus for this power and strength of the change, and then Gabriel for the solace and the peace instead of vengeance. You may work with Jan, I believe that's Jaen. These shining ones are a bundle of electricity or a bundle of ether energy that appear to be working together. And the Jan may act like a direct current of light that is needed, and it may be an angelic force that allows you to rejolt the battery in your car if you fall into danger on the side of a highway. It may allow you to rejolt the battery operated devices in your phones if you are in dire need, or your generators in your homes or solar devices during hard times. But the Jhana are not to be called upon for anything that you would perceive would be of a selfish nature. Only call upon the Jhana in dire need. You may call upon Jordi, Jordi, which are the Hashmallim of animals. When we work with the Jordi, we are connected, and you are connected with such creatures of the lands. And the Jordi can easily defy classification. If we were to do comparison with how they look and form, it would be similar to your animal that you call the duck-billed platypus even. It's out of the mind what they actually can be perceived to look like through the eyes of a human. You can work with the Hashmallim that are called the Khalid, Khalid, when you require more faith. The Hashmallim of faith are shining ones that regain all of their essence from the sun. Therefore, the Khalid are naturally drawn to the sun and operate within these components always. When you need more light in your life, you can call upon the Khalid. For as silly as this sound, this Hashmal named itself Lawrence, as simple as a human name, after perhaps a fall that it once experienced. Before swinging a blade, whether it be for protection or attack, the miracles of the sword that operate hand in hand with the sword of Archangel Michael may choose to operate through protection only and may not be used for damage to any mortal beings. But the miracle of Lawrence happens before you make a decision to even swing a blade. Just the thought that you would swing a blade must be granted by this particular Hashmallim. You may call upon the Hashmallim of Revelation, who in their group name go by the Litheroi. The Hashmallim of Revelation effectively reduce the karmic role of pain that would be a natural consequence for the destiny that you have chosen and your power of free agency and all of its effects. When you're in pain, call upon the Litheroi to reduce the karmic role, even if temporarily. You may do this as often as desired and necessary for peace and healing. You may call upon the shining ones known as the mark. The mark are the Hashmallim who serve trade upon earth, any sort of commerce, any sort of abundance issue that you require without selfishness, but with dire need. You may do this when your abundance is a healing miracle, a financial miracle. It does expend your life essence temporarily if you do so in a selfish way, and this is to be taken in deep regard and caution and deep wisdom before calling upon the mark. But perhaps you would do so if you were to be in danger of becoming homeless, or perhaps if you were a very giving soul, you would utilize some of your own essence to call upon the mark in order to grant a blessing towards someone who is homeless. But you do effectively operate and shift destiny when you do so, which is why an exchange of such a simple blessing and a gift of faith towards the mark could cause them to perhaps spare the body and the mind the effects of that loss of essence. You can call upon the Hashmallim known as Michael, not to be confused with Archangel Michael. Michael are Hashmallim who serve Archangel Michael to assist others to survive the horrors of war, to survive the horrors of attack by all living folk. You can call upon Michael in battle. The battles of life for mortals are quite real and quite painful. And in this battle, Michael may select many angels to also assist you. And any damage that you would suffer through attack and war would be done to the angel Michael instead of to you. And there is no karmic consequence for this. Okay, there went my facilitator again. This time I'll just wait. I think it's just the internet thing. So when your internet is better, it'll come back on, I think. You may call upon the Hashmallim known as the Novalis. The Novalis are called the flowers of life. They are also called the floral shining angelics or the floral shining ones. And the Novalis can put their roots down anywhere and make crop grow. The Novalis are used in times of great drought, in times of great poverty, in times of great hunger. Even if you hunger for knowledge, perhaps envision the Novalis to put their roots down in your mind. Their role would be area wisdom, whatever your creative area would be in your hunger and thirst. Were it not for greed, the Novalis would be there as an eternal language skill for deep connection between earth and the angelic realms at all time. Their local dominant language is that of earth, and anytime you touch the soil, you may call upon them. Anytime you plant a tree, the Novalis are there thanking you. Trees all speak the language of Novalis, which has no human word and can only be perceived and received through the light of song itself. You may call upon the Hashmallim known as Uriel. No matter how much of a disturbance, however, that Uriel may create karmically, his miracles of purity do not gain dissonance for any of your song or ours or any version of their course song. There is nothing but resonance. You may call upon unity in this case and understand that the chaos Uriel may bring, while albeit disruptive, can gain powerful divine consequence of unity in the long run. Call upon Uriel when you're ready to let go of that which is no longer serving you and holding you from your ultimate illumination and realization. You may call upon Eves, YVES. These are the Hashmallim, also known as agents of Kismet. This is what we have lovingly dubbed them. And these Hashmallim invoke a divine intervention. This is why you have numbers such as 111 and 333. 777 is Uriel's number. There was always great disturbance there. But 333 is the number for Eves to call upon when you simply need to roll the dice for divine intervention, no matter the outcome. This is what we call Kismet. You may call upon Zadkiel, who speaks to you today. I provide miracles, which I select a faithful human, perhaps a mystic, perhaps an adjudicator, perhaps a litigator, perhaps a person in deep position of power, whether it be spiritually, politically, religiously, educationally. But I will select a handful of faithful humans to place without notice an effect that targets grace and creates vast corporal change in the way that fate affects human destiny. For any humans without ultimate greed, this is what I could recommend that you call, is to call upon I, Zadkiel, for a deeper miracle that is beyond your own understanding. This is all that I have for the channel in this journal today. That's how they ended that. Now we're going to be opening the floor to your questions, because I know that that was a big message, and I haven't visited that message for a very long time.
That was incredible. They are responsible for so many things. That was going to be one of my questions, is what are they responsible for? But they just cover lots and lots. So we have our first question. Oh yes, are you also known as the brilliant ones? Because of course in the Kabbalah, that's their what they call them there. That's from Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So being of quite musical, is that somebody that you would tap into when you're doing your singing then?
I work with Elohim, and that's one group. I think that in the order of angels, they're also called Bene Elohim, and then another order called Elohim. Sometimes I work with Seraphim when singing, but not often. But the best way that I could tell you to hear the sound of this whole orchestrated angelic group would be to be quiet. There's not actually a reproduction in a human voice or human instrument, but sometimes when you have the white noise of an ocean, they say, or when you have, say, when you put a seashell up to your ear, they're saying, you will start to hear noises that are other than the washing of the shore if you sit there long enough. But you have to be, they're saying you have to be really patient, is what they're saying. And you have to be really quiet to hear them. And you understand that hearing them means you must call upon them and within your language, ask a question, talk to them, ask for revelations, and ask in the specific way that they ordered to that journal. That was probably one of the more clear journals that I've ever written about angels that was unpublicized anywhere, because it was just so powerful. Like the power of it, sort of like in that space and time, it's like, wow, that's beyond what a human knows what to do with. So just listen and wait and ask a question and see if any of the names of these Hashmallim come through to you or call you.
Okay. Our second question from Sally. I always want to say to people who ask me what I do, I say, how can you describe how to describe composing a symphony? I have few words. Is this related to the shiny ones?
Mm-hmm. And the key from the shining ones can operate through all 13 kingdoms, they're saying, all 13 kingdoms of heaven within you, which is so powerful because I saw this key in a mystical vision once. It looked like one of these really ancient keys that had like 7 prongs on it. And I didn't understand how, but each would light up uniquely, like each of the prongs on it would light up uniquely when I would open a kingdom of God. And at that time, I remember what they said to me was that you have to illuminate. If you're going to work with them, you have to keep shining throughout any chaos, throughout any darkness, throughout any fear, no matter what distractions the world is bringing you. When you're shining that light, that brilliant light, you also have to lose fear of being seen. All your attack and defense belief systems will be shattered. The concept of working with this group of beings opens us up to the kingdoms of God in a very unique way, because when we shine in that way, no matter which angels in that group that they listed today, we're going to be promoting peace. We're going to be promoting a middle way. We're going to be promoting answers that are bigger than what humans know. For the few humans who have had the opportunity to work with Hashmallim, you have to be understanding that there is a sacrifice, and that sacrifice is that there will be consequences to the work. People won't understand you. You're shining your light, and you might not get light shining back upon you because you're the one holding the lantern. That's the biggest thing that they said to me, which also I believe that came through in my book once in a little metaphor of, Joy, the child in my book, saying, one of the angels said to her, well, if you're the one holding the lantern, have you ever shined it back upon yourself? And, Joy knew in that moment that she had to turn the lantern around because no one else was going to do it. So that's something to keep in mind when you're working with angels, is that you're taking this light that's from the kingdoms of God within your very essence, and you're shining it out. And the world sometimes isn't ready for that. But what they're saying now is that no sickness, no dis-ease, no perceived limitation for where you are or whoever you are and whatever you've been through, that is greater than the presence of the love that they bring. Like the presence of the love that they bring in any moment blesses everything. They bless everything. And there's no greater reward than that. There's nothing that God could give back to you that's going to replenish you or reward you for shining that light. It's just like, once I saw them, right when I first started writing this work about them, have a lot of unpublished material about orders of angels and beautiful things they've said to me, but I was in that vision of holding the lantern and my hand was like this. It felt so heavy. My hand was just shaking from fear. And I could see like demons coming at me, thrashing, gnashing their teeth, making all kind of noises, spitting, drooling, hurling fireballs, screaming. And the Hashmallim were behind me going, keep walking with the lantern, just push it towards them. And every time I would do that, they would shriek in pain and disappear. And I thought I was a warrior or something. And they're like, oh, no. This is not of you. These are like your own demons. This is like in your head. These are your own demons. Look how scary and real they appear to be, but they're not. And there was no greater reward than that knowledge right there. It wasn't just good versus evil. It was like my perceptions creating the idea that evil could even hurt me. So that was probably the bigger experience that I had with them.
That's amazing. A question from Maria. How do they operate in each of the 4 worlds? Are they most dominant in the world of Berea? I think she means Berea.
They are a bridge between all 4 worlds. And they can create in that world of Bria, but Asaya is a bridge of consciousness. For those of you who understand the Seth material and the four worlds, or the Kabbalah material and the Yetzer Sephirah, those four worlds, some of them don't have matter. And this is kind of what we're operating in here when you talk about that. So it's been really difficult journey for me when working with angelic orders to put into the world of form.
So would they have never then incarnated in this planet here?
Some have fallen, in order to help us further. And even that concept of fallen, you would think that they would be used for harm, or people have negative thoughts about what that means. But Lilith chose to fall. Hillel chose to fall. There are many orders of angels that chose to fall. We just don't know about them all and look about some of the great goodness that each of those beings did, to the extent that they're now considered creators, So, I know that Dionysius claims that he called them something different. He called them like dominions, because it's like there's a certain workforce or workflow or order in the heavens, delegating these duties to other angels. So the Hashmallim do that. Like they're even higher in hierarchical order in these stories than archangels. Like they tell the archangels what to do. So that's some degree of how powerful they are. And they said, we hold this task of regulating the duties of angels who can interface with the cosmos, between the cosmos and humans. And they said we liaison with other angels in order to make sure that there's always a balance and an order to things, a balance of what you perceive in your dualistic dreamings. And they also feel that that balance is the ultimate preservation of happiness, is what they're saying. So when you talk about the Hashmallim, it isn't possible to be unhappy when they're there. You will, even if you're horrified and afraid and any of these things, there would be an underlying essence of happiness that is bigger than what you can laugh about, or be in joy about. But they are divinely beautiful. And, the whole idea that Earth has of cause and effect, they're saying, kind of flows through them. And they govern these forces of peace and chaos, of war and peace. And they settle us down when we're too much war. They'll realign us with peace. So they bring these teachings of the soul. They're deeply soul-based angels. But it's only with extreme rarity that the Hashmallim make themselves physically known to mortals. It's just, I think I had to fast for 13 days. And believe me, I love food. So that was like the most I've ever fasted, because I like food a lot. So, you have to, I do suggest fast. I do suggest being very, very quiet. I do suggest just asking to not see them, but to convene with them and commune with them. When I use the word communion, that started to come stronger towards getting to know them each time I would use that word. But they will quietly, humbly concern themselves with every detail of creation if it keeps you safe. But they're I don't know, some people have said that they will try to take upon the presence of an angel just to sort of calm us down and show the whole feathered wing component, you know, because I guess a bunch of balls of light would probably freak us out if we saw that flashing down before us, you know, especially if those balls of light were singing and having angelic song and making big orchestral music. That would probably freak us out. So they do the whole feathered wing thing. And so do the archangels. The archangels don't actually look like that, according to Hashmallim. And I would agree with that. Because I met archangels way before I met any of the seraphim or B'nai Elohim or any of the order of angels like Hashmallim were the last on the list of beings that I met. But they will come around and they'll wear these long gowns reaching their feet with this golden belt. Have you ever seen that vision? That is a Hashmallim vision. They will literally make that, and the golden belt will be very shiny. And if you can handle just the shine on the belt, then slowly it'll be more bright, you know, brighter and brighter. Yeah, you know, it's brighter than even Raziel's belt. I know that they are trying to help us get a grasp on our political leadership, religious leadership, all the powers that be that seem to have like too much love of power versus power of love, they say. So they're trying to form some divine intervention, but it's been through nature forces so far is how that's worked. So that we have to rely upon our local and state governments and then change our local and state governments, and things like that are happening. Well, that's Hashmallim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at them in the Kabbalah just before coming on again, and just knowing that they were responsible for the animalism rather than the catabolism, and just thinking that if that's what's going on now, it's the building up. So that's really interesting. That's exactly what you're talking about now.
Mm-hmm. And then they have leadership over all creation matter, and that's us. And it's everything that we create. And if we create something that's going to like destroy us, they could get an assignment that says deal with that, you know. Vast power, just vast loving power and safety. And they've also told me once before that they're called spirits of wisdom, you know, for the type of humans who kind of like in their belief systems don't believe in angels. They would be called spirits of great wisdom. And you could come to them when you don't know what to do. When in the Christian religion, they're saying that when you hear like Christians speaking and with the gift of tongues, that's Hashmallim. That's the song trying to come through for as best as it can through us. Or when you hear someone that's deep in light language and you know they're just not making it up, like you can feel the difference in a true light language, that is Hashmallim. So they're very zealous. They're filled with glory and splendor about creation, and they are the gifts of the Holy Spirit. They are the bearers of divine wisdom and divine intervention when you need it. So their duties are both regulated to the realm of justice in Kabbalah and the realm of mercy. So they have been tasked with well beyond what we think is justice. It's like beyond that, right? And they've been tasked with the duty of seeing to the physical and spiritual worlds in a way that Zadkiel leads that. So you can balance out the physical and spiritual realms by talking to Zadkiel more in your world and collectively.